And we'll start part two of today's Local 6 Legal Line with the Honorable Austin Kennady of the Bryan Law Center, Paducah, Mayfield, and Louisville. The topic is personal injury. And Brenda says, I was in a car accident in January of 2023. I suffered neck injuries. They weren't initially that bad, but now the symptoms have gotten worse. Is it too late to file a case for this injury?
Well, I guess the first thing would be is if whether you've signed a release. If you've signed a release, discharging or waiving any and all claims, including the injury claim, then I think you'd be in trouble. But if you haven't signed any kind of release, then the next thing you want to look at is, of course, statute of limitations. You should be fine. In Kentucky, you have at least a 2-year statute of limitations from the date of the accident, if not a little bit beyond that, depending if PIP made any payments on your behalf. Illinois is strict 2 years, Tennessee strict 1 year. So as long as it's in Kentucky or even Illinois, you should be okay. The other thing I would also be cognizant of would be the causation issues. So the longer something's gone on without medical treatment that's actually documenting what happened in the accident, how your injuries have progressed, well, it makes it harder to prove. And of course, the burden of proof is always on the plaintiff, and it can make it very difficult, to prove your damages going forward. The last thing I'd say is there are ways to take that into account. Like, say, if you wanted to settle your case in the near future without filing suit, what you could do is you could obviously contact a lawyer, and your lawyer can get medical evidence from your treating surgeon, even if you haven't had the surgery, and answer or ask questions. Like, send them a questionnaire that asks them within a reasonable degree of medical probability whether or not a surgery is reasonable and necessary, whether it's related to your auto accident, whether you'll have permanent impairment after surgery, and once you've reached maximum medical improvement, any permanent restrictions you have, future treatment, all those things. And when we get those answers back, we send that over to either the liability carrier or a defense attorney, and claim that as part of the damages, in addition to pain and suffering, in addition to your medical charges and any wage loss that we can claim.
Next person wants to know, is there any way that I can sue the VA?
Yes, but it's a very, I'd say, very difficult process. There's federal law out there that makes you have to do certain things in a certain order, and if you do not do those things, you can't move forward with it. Your case will be dismissed. So that is one I would say you definitely want to consult with a lawyer on, to make sure that process is done correctly, because if you miss one of those steps, don't do it in the correct order, it could lead to your case being dismissed.
Have about 30 seconds left for one final question here. Someone wants to know, should I take legal action after tripping over a crack by the riverfront while out on a run, and then I had to miss work due to injuries?
Well, I guess it's could be two potentially different cases. It could be a premises liability case, which I guess would be against the city, which if that's the case, then you're going to have some issues there. There's also, kind of like the VA thing, there's certain requirements you have to do in order to sue city government or county government. As far as, I guess I can't read the question here, but if you were on the job, then you would definitely have a work comp case. But without more information, I'm afraid I couldn't really help you too much right now with that.
So if you have any other details, give this guy a call and he'll be glad to help you. If you'd like to review either one of these segments that were hosted by Austin Kennady today of the Bryan Law Center, they'll be online shortly. Look under Legal Line at WPSDLocal6.com.